Welcome to our graduate spotlight interview with NTP Julia Putzies. At the NTA, we are incredibly proud of our graduates and the ways that they're impacting their communities and our world for lasting health and wellness. So, Julia, what inspired you to become an NTP?
Hi, I'm so happy to be here, but thank you. I was really inspired to become an NTP really when I learned how much I don't know about nutrition, about health and nutrition. I grew up playing sports at high level. I played field hockey in college and always felt that I came from a healthy family, which I did. My family was very focused on making home cooked meals and things like that. And I was always kind of approaching nutrition from the lens of supporting myself as an athlete. But it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I met a friend who works in the food industry, and her brand is really advocating for using quality ingredients in their products. And we became very close and started cooking together, and she started pointing things out to me that I hadn't thought about before. One of the big light bulb moments was when we were cooking together and she pulled the canola oil out of my pantry and was like, Julia, what are you doing with this? You need to throw this out. And I,
Mhm.
had this moment where I was like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you mean by that. And so that was a really big light bulb moment for me, but that was kind of a series of little learnings that I had through our relationship. And I just started to want to learn more. And so I wanted to understand, if I didn't know these things, I saw myself as someone that was pretty healthy, who tried to eat healthy food. If I didn't know these things, a lot of people don't know these things, right? So I just started being interested in uncovering that and learning more about what I didn't know. And that's what led me ultimately to being an NTP and signing up for the program, because I wanted to be empowered for myself. I didn't really know at the time of signing up what I was going to do with my certification, but I just knew that I had to follow my gut, if you will, and this passion that I was building for learning more about it and really knowing it. And I decided, if ultimately all I do is use this for my own health and my own family and, spreading the word to people in my circle about what's really healthy and what's not, that would be enough. And so I got started from there, and it's obviously kind of taken off since then. I've built on that a lot. But that was my original inspiration, was just to uncover what I thought I knew and what I really didn't know.
I love that. I love that drive. It all just started with, one relationship and friend and a light bulb moment. And I'm sure, you experienced many more in the program and been able to change your life and your family's life through it. So, Julia, what are you currently doing right now to use your education that you received through the NTA?
Yeah, so I was working in software development before I started my certification. So I work as a product manager, and I've worked at a number of different companies doing app development and website development for different kinds of products. And that's what I have done my whole career. And that's what I was doing when I signed up to be an NTP. And I just did that education on the side and during nights and weekends while I continued my day job as a product manager. And as I was learning more about, through the program, about spreading the word about healthy food and, who's really affected by this lack of information, and this lack of resources to healthy food, I started to realize that I could combine my experience in product management and in digital product development with my experience and certification with the NTP to create a mobile app experience that anybody could use. So I got really inspired by this idea that, not everybody can afford a nutritionist. Not everybody can afford getting access to the kind of information that, we would love to share. So if we could offer an app that was free for anybody to use, I mean, everybody has a smartphone now, right? So if you could offer an app that offered free information, then we could spread that news so much more broadly. So that's where this idea for creating an app about nutrition and about quality food came about. And that's what I'm doing now. So with the company that I was working with at the time of my certification, it's a small engineering consulting company called SlyTrunk. And we typically do work for a number of outside clients. But I brought this idea to my team and they were excited to create it and for us to own it within my company. So we've created an app called Trash Panda, and it actually launched last week in the App Store. So you can download it on iOS or Android. It's free, and it will allow you to scan foods and get immediately information on the quality of the ingredients in the food. So it doesn't focus at all on calories or nutrition facts or that kind of information. It's fully focused on what are the ingredients listed on the package, and are those ingredients linked at all to negative health outcomes. So we know, based on all we've learned through the NTP program, that certain ingredients have been created by big food to help make foods cheaper, to help make foods more flavorful, to make them more addictive. But a lot of times these ingredients are listed in a way that are not straightforward to the consumer. Things like natural flavors can seem very, very simple, like not that big of a deal. But we know as we kind of unpack what they're really made of, that they can be harmful or that we don't actually really know what's in them. So things like that, things like, there's 61 different names for sugar that can be used on an ingredients label. So you could be looking for sugar because you know that you don't want to consume too much of that, but you might not be looking for all the other things that it could be labeled under. So it makes, as a normal consumer, even for me, a lot of the time I'll forget what certain ingredients are, or if they're good or if they're not. What is carrageenan again? Was that something I read that was bad? Trash Panda is, it's targeted at making those decisions much easier. So it'll capture either the barcode or you can take a picture of the ingredients list itself, and it'll tell you if any of the ingredients in that food have been flagged as potentially harmful or questionable by us. And it'll just make it quicker and easier to understand what's in it and to make a decision based off of that information.
I love that. I love how you're using your credential, and I love how you took your own personal story, as in like not knowing exactly what healthy ingredients were, and now helping others on their journey as well, and sharing that with others in this really applicable and useful way. So I'm really, really excited about that. That's awesome, Julia. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing. So is there any advice that you could share with a graduate who is still developing their goals on what they would like to accomplish with their FNTP or NTP credential?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I was very open throughout the process about what the potential outcome might be. As I was going through the program, I still had in my mind, maybe I do quit my job. Maybe I do become a nutritionist. Maybe that is the right path for me. And I think I was just very open to the potential of different opportunities that might come along. Um, and I had the experience that I had and the passion that I had for working in digital products. And I knew I should probably try to use that if I could. And so for me, I think it's the advice I would give is just to think about what you love, what you're passionate about, the skills that you already have, because many people are coming to this program with other skills. And are there ways that you can utilize those skills as you move forward and just be open to different possibilities? I think the most mainstream path is kind of setting up your own practice, becoming a nutritionist, doing it that way. But there's lots of people who have partnered with others to create more of a joint practice. Or, in my case, creating an app, I had the opportunity to do that within my company, or maybe I could have also gone off and done it on my own and gotten investing and figured that out by myself, which is potentially a path I could have gone down as well. But just being open to those possibilities, you don't have to feel locked into starting your own practice if that's not something that really lights you up. If you don't look at that and you're like, that's absolutely what I want to do, then maybe there's a different path for you. And there's a lot of different ways you could use this information to help people. And I'm sure that existing skills can play into that as well.
I love that. Yeah, the opportunities are endless with this education, how you can help others. So thank you for sharing that message.
Yeah.
I have one final question for you. What would you consider to be your NTP motto?
Yeah, so we thought about this a lot in terms of the mission for Trash Panda and what it is that we're really trying to put out there to help people. And I think our motto is really to just do a little bit better. I think this kind of information can be very overwhelming for a lot of people. And it's really hard to, take in all of that information and process it in a way that, helps you understand, well, what should I be eating this? Should I be eating that? Should I be gluten-free? Should I be vegan? Like there's so many different messages out there about what's good and what's not. And it's different for everybody, which is obviously a core component of our program, that everybody's a bio individual. And so what might work for me might not work for you. And I think the small steps really make that change in the bigger picture. So with Trash Panda, it's one single product at a time. Check out the nut butter in your fridge. If that's not meeting the quality expectations of what you want, let's sub it out with a different one. Check out your salad dressing. Does that have poor quality oils in it? Let's sub that out for something else that's a better recommendation. And so I think, rather than feeling like you have to change your whole life or clean out your entire pantry in one day, our motto is just to do a little bit better and to keep in mind that there's always going to be things that you're going to be interested in or consuming, or you're going to be at someone else's house and the options aren't always going to be there, and trying not to obsess over being perfect. We're giving ratings in the app that allow you to see how many harmful or potentially harmful or questionable ingredients are in a food. And if there's zero, it's 0, 0. That's the green light that there's nothing, weird in this product. But the goal isn't to be always 0, 0 all of the time. It's to just be able to be informed, to know what it is that you're putting in your body, and to be aware of it is the first step. And then you can make those little changes as you go, but you don't have to be perfect and you don't have to do it all at once. Just do it a little bit at a time. And those little changes will add up to a larger picture shift in your health that I think anybody could benefit from.
I love that. I absolutely love that message. Just do a little bit better is perfect. And I think that your app, like you said, is helping people make those small changes every day, which make a huge impact on their overall wellness and health. So thank you so much for sharing that, Julia. Thank you so much for sharing your NTP story today, as well as how you're using your credential. And it's really inspiring to see how you use this amazing education you received at the NTA to make such a huge impact on others. So thank you so much for your time today. And I hope people check out the Trash Panda app in the iOS and Android store. Thanks so much.
Thank you.